Hey everybody, welcome to another band discography ranking where I rank every single album by a band or artist. And I have done other band discography rankings such as the Beatles, the Ramones, Nirvana, and Ween. Go check those out and a couple others I've done as well, if you haven't already. But today I will be ranking all 14 studio albums by Beck. Yes, Beck. I have done a top 20 favorite Beck songs list, I believe. So I have talked about Beck on the channel before. Go check out that video if you haven't already. But I thought I rank all 14 of his studio albums. Now you might be thinking, isn't there 11 studio albums? Well, if you want to get technical, kind of like there's 11 like major label uh albums or whatever, but in all honesty it's actually 14 because he has three other albums that he released independently, and I do count those as his albums as well. I count that to be in his discography. But yeah, he did two before Mellow Gold, and then after Mellow Gold, he did another independent release. But yeah, I will be counting those as well. So yeah, all 14 studio albums by Beck. Now, before I start, I'll talk a little bit about Beck. Beck is a experimental music artist who I've been a fan of ever since high school. I believe so. And like I said, he's experimental. He first started out doing just like anti folk songs, and then he later started to do other stuff like hip hop, country, funk, even, and just other stuff as well. He's a very talented musician, without a doubt. Very good songwriter. Yeah, I love Beck. So yeah, all 14 of his albums ranked from my least favorite to my favorite, starting with number 14. So yeah, let's as my least favorite. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? All right, coming in at number 14, my least favorite Beck album. It's his second to last album. That is 2017's Colors. Yeah, I don't know if you could. Okay, yeah, Colors. Colors, I don't think is a terrible album, but I think the big reason why it's my least favorite Beck album is because the production. I really don't like the production on this album. It's just way overproduced, way overproduced. But I gotta say though, there's not really necessarily any bad songs on this album. I think all of them are pretty good or at least decent. It's just the production on most of these tracks I just don't like. They just, like I said, they're just way too overly produced. Um, so yeah, that's the big reason why it's my least favorite. I'm actually surprised that my number 13 is actually higher than this one, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think Colors is terrible. I just don't like the production. That's basically it. Um, and also, whenever I talk about each album, I'm gonna also mention my favorite tracks on the album. My personal favorite tracks on this album, I only have two. That is Dear Life and Wow. Yeah, I love those songs, and there's two others I like. Those are not my favorites, but I also like I'm So Free and No Distraction. But and everything else I just don't really care for. But if this album was just a 4-track EP with those four songs, then I would have been okay with it. I would have been fine. But no, I'm not a fan of Colors. I don't like the production on it. So yeah, it's my least favorite Beck album. Number 14 is Colors. All right, number 13. Like I said, I'm actually surprised I have this over colors. I'm not big into this one either very much, but however, I do think it's slightly better than colors because it's more of a creative. It's more creative than colors, I think. Um, number number 13 is his most recent album, and that is Hyperspace. Yeah. Um, like I said, it's a very creative album. It actually is. The only genre that Wikipedia says it is it just says synth pop. But I don't know. I would say this is it's a very poppy album, and so was Colors. But I have to say the production on this is a little bit better. Like it sounds like it's a little more creative sounding at least, and like I said, it's pretty creative this album. Um, I'm just not huge into it. In fact, I used to hate this album when I very first heard this. I actually, because I heard it once before I started this ranking, I did not like it at all. Um, but after re-listening to it for the ranking, I surprisingly didn't mind it. Like I thought it was all right. Again, I don't love it, but I would probably listen to this again sometime, like maybe the next 2 years or so. But I, it's all right. It's okay. It's not terrible. Um, could be a lot better, but could be a lot worse as well. It's okay. So yeah, my favorite tracks on this album is again only two. That is Stratosphere and Star. Yeah, Hyperspace. It's okay. It's not terrible. Like I liked it a whole lot better than the first time. So yeah, Hyperspace. It's okay. That is my number 13. Yeah. All right. Coming in at number 12, we got from 2008, Modern Guilt. Yeah. This album's okay. I kind of feel like this album is a little unfinished, honestly. Like, I don't know. There's just not too much about this album, and it's really short. It's probably his shortest album with it's only 33 minutes long, and there's only 10 tracks on it. It's not terrible though. It's kind of cool. Like it's him like kind of experimenting into like psychedelic rock sort of, and it kind of sounds, I don't know, a little kind of modern rock at the time. Like it, kind of like similar to like bands such as like Cage the Elephant and um, the Black Keys and the what are they called? The Strokes. I was about to say the Stooges, but no, the Strokes. It's okay. It's not a bad album. I just feel like it's unfinished. Like I feel like there could have been more tracks on it and it could have been a lot better, but it's fine. Personal favorites off of this album are Gamma Ray, Modern Guilt, the self-titled track, Soul of a Man, and Profanity Prayers. Um, but yeah, it's all right. Modern Guilt's okay. It's not my favorite, obviously, but it's fine. So yeah, Modern Guilt is number 12. All right, number 11. Now this one, some people might get mad uh, at me for it being this low on the list, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. Unfortunately, I do think it's good, but it's just not one of my favorites. But I think this is kind of like a fan favorite by Beck fans. But yeah, my number 11 is Sea Change. Yeah, 2002 Sea Change. This was, I would say this is an interesting album because this is like him just doing like a, acoustic folk stuff pretty much, or just folk music, I guess, in general. Um, and this was after the album Midnight Vultures, which is a very different album from this one. Um, and I'll talk about that one later. But Sea Change though, I think is good. I just feel like there's another album which I think a lot of people don't like this certain album because I feel like it's like a copy of Sea Change, but honestly, I think it's better than Sea Change, and I'll talk about that much later. But yeah, it's all right. Personal favorites from Sea Change are Guess I'm Doing Fine, Lost Cause, Sunday Sun, and Little One. Um, but yeah, it's okay. It's an okay album. I mean, it's pretty good for the most part, but I just don't love it like a lot of people do. So yeah, Sea Change. That is number 11. Okay, coming in at number 10, we got his debut album. Yes, his debut album and probably his weirdest album. That is Golden Feelings. Yes, Golden Feelings. Very strange album for sure, especially for a debut album like this. If you listen to, some of the albums I've already mentioned, like Sea Change or even Colors, and then you like those albums, you go and you're like, I want to listen to Beck's first album. There it is, his first one, Golden Feelings, and it is completely different. It is just weirdness, like kind of, and this was like kind of like around the same time where weird bands, like Ween and Butthole Surfers, so it kind of feels a little bit like that in some ways, but it's a little bit different from that too. Like it's like a lot of folk on it and a little bit of blues as well. Um, and also he sings like in a deep voice on most of the songs on this album, which is kind of weird, but it's okay. This album's I actually kind of like it. There are some tracks I'm not into, uh, but it's fine. I think it's a weird album, but I like weird music, so it's okay. Personal favorite tracks from this album are "No Money, No Honey," "Schmoozer," I think is how you say it. I don't know. SCHMOOZER, Schmoozer, I guess. I don't know. Um, Heartland Feeling. I love that song, by the way. Awesome. Um, Getting Home and Totally Confused. Yeah. Um, yeah, Golden Feelings. It's like I said, a weird album, but I still kind of enjoy it. So yeah, number 10 is Golden Feelings. All right, number 9 is an album that I remember when I first heard it, I wasn't really that into it, but it grew on me on second listen. It grew on me, and I like this album pretty good. Um, I don't have it unfortunately. I need to get this one, and once I do, maybe I'll listen to it more, and I might like it some more. But I liked it quite a bit this time around listening to it. That is 2000 from 2006. The Information. Yeah. Um yeah, this one's all right. This one's fine. It has some, it has like some your typical like alternative rocks tracks on there, but there's also a little bit of rap on it, like some rap songs, and it's pretty cool. I do feel like it's a little long though this album, and there are a couple tracks on here I'm not really that into that. Honestly, he could have just cut it out. But yeah, this is kind of a long album, sort of. But yeah, it's fine. I think the Information is pretty good. Maybe even one of his most underrated albums, possibly. Um, but yeah, favorite tracks from this are "Think I'm in Love," "Cell Phone's Dead," "Nausea," "No Complaints," and 10,000 Beats Per Minute. That one's pretty cool, I have to say. Um, yeah, the Information. It's a fine album. That is number 9. All right, number 8. Number 8, we have another album that I wasn't quite into the very first time I heard it, but it grew on me over time, and yeah, I like it quite a bit now. Number 8 is 1996, I think this came out. No, 98. 1998. Mutations. Yes. Um, yeah, Mutations. This was the follow up to Odelay, which actually did come out in 1996. And I, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe like when this album came out, like after hearing Mellow Gold and Odelay, people who loved those albums, they find out that Beck's new album's coming out, his follow up to Odelay, and they're excited for it. And then it's this. I can see them being very disappointed, and even I was when I very first heard it, because this is more just like laid back, just kind of like in a way, kind of like Sea Change. But it sounds a little different from Sea Change, but it's kind of more folk stuff. But I think this album's pretty good, actually. This honestly might be his most underrated album, if I'm gonna be honest. Um, but I really like Mutations. Like I didn't before, but it grew on me over time. My personal favorites from this are Cold Brains, Nobody's Fault But My Own, Lazy Flies, Tropicala, I guess is how you say it, and also the hymn track that is Diamond Bollocks, which actually sounds completely different from all the other stuff. That one sounds like it could be on Odelay, but I guess that's probably why it's the hidden track. But yeah, Mutations, I think it's pretty good. I actually enjoy it. More times I listen to it, the more I like it. So yeah, Mutations. That is number 8. All right, and number 7. Yeah, number 7. Number 7 is the follow up to Mutations, 1999's Midnight Vultures. This one is very, very interesting. This is him more doing more like pop kind of stuff. Like I would say this is probably his first pop album, but it's also like it's him also fusing like funk and R&B, and it's pretty cool actually. This album is pretty dope, I have to be honest. And yeah, it's very interesting. I like it quite a bit. Maybe underrated. I don't know. I kind of feel like some Beck fans really like this one. I don't know, but yeah, I like Midnight Vultures. It's pretty cool. No, yeah. Oh, sorry, I was about to go to the next one for some reason. Um, but my personal favorites from this one are Nicotine and Gravy, Mixed Business, Hollywood Freaks, Peaches and Cream, Pressure Zone, and Deborah, which is the closing track on the album. Definitely the best song on the album, where he sings really high, and it was also in the Edgar Wright film Baby Driver. Um, but yeah, Midnight Vultures, really cool album. I like it a lot. And yeah, it is my number 7. Yes, my number 7 is Midnight Vultures. Okay, number 6 is one of his his first album, Golden Feelings. This is another independent release that he did, and this was actually the follow up to Mellow Gold, but I believe it was recorded before Mellow Gold. That is One Foot in the Grave. Yeah, this is another that grew on me over time. And after listening to it for the ranking, I really liked it this time around. Like, it's mostly folk songs, but there is also a little bit of noise rock on it too. Um, but yeah, it's pretty good. I like One Foot in the Grave. Very lo-fi sounding, but I like it a lot. I think it's really good. Um, Probably another underrated album by Beck. But yeah, my personal favorites from this one are He's a Mighty Good Leader, I Get Lonesome, Force Field, Asshole, Girl Dreams, Painted Eyelids, and Atmospheric Conditions. Yeah, really cool album. I actually recommend this one if you haven't heard it yet. It's really good. Yeah, One Foot in the Grave, that is number 6. All right, number 5. Now, this one, some of y'all might think it's weird that I have this in the top 5, but this was one of the Beck albums I grew up with because my brother happened to have it, so I grew up with this album. Sorry, my number five. I actually talked about this too in my top 20 favorite sophomore albums. My number five is his sophomore album, and that is Stereopathetic Soulmanure. Yeah. This one is kind of like Mellow Gold is pretty weird too. I don't think it's as weird as Mellow Gold, but or not Mellow Gold, Golden Feeling. Sorry, but there is definitely some weird stuff on this one. Like I don't know, it has like a bunch of different stuff like country, blues, folk, noise, even. But I think it works pretty well. This one, even though there are a couple tracks on here that I'm not too into, I can listen to this whole album and not skip any of it. Like, and there's even like some like spoken word tracks on here too. But yeah, I really like Stereopathetic Soul Manure. I Now that I think about it, I think this is his most underrated album, honestly. But yeah, Stereopathetic Soul Manure. Oh, sorry. Favorite tracks on this one are Rowboat, which Johnny Cash actually covered, believe it or not. Thunder Peal, One Foot in the Grave, Today Has Been a Fucked Up Day, Putting It Down, Cut in Half Blues, Ozzy, and Satan Gave Me a Taco, the best song on the album, without a doubt. Yeah, I really like Stereopathetic Soul Manure. Check it out if you haven't already. Um, that is my number five. Yeah. Okay, my number four. This one I think gets better each time I listen to it. Like it's really good. And hopefully I won't butcher the name because it is in Spanish. But my number four is 2005's Guero. I think that's how you say it. Guero, maybe? Euro, Guero. I don't know. But I think it's Guero. This one is kind of very similar to, well, actually, the next album I'll talk about. I would say maybe a sequel to the next album. Of course, it's not as good as the next one, but it's pretty close. I really enjoy this. I really enjoy Guero. I think it's great. Personal favorite tracks on here are E Pro. Hopefully, I'll say this one right. Uh, Q Onda Guero. Yeah, in Spanish. Sorry. Girl, Earthquake Weather, Hell Yes, Broken Drum, Farewell Ride, and Emergency Exit. Broken Drum is, I think, my all-time favorite from this album. Really cool song. And also, here's a little fun fact about the track Hell Yes. I actually didn't know this until I actually looked it up. I read it on Wikipedia, and apparently there is a female guest vocalist on Hell Yes, and it's credited as like a some Japanese or Chinese or some Asian woman's name, but it actually isn't. It happens to be the actress Christina Ricci, believe it or not. So yeah, if you listen to the song Hell Yes and you hear a female voice, that's Christina Ricci. I know, it's pretty crazy. But yeah. Anyways, Guero, really good album. I like it a lot. That is number four. Okay, now before I get this, I'm now in my top three. Before I reveal my number three, I'm gonna first explain something here. Like I said, these are my personal favorites, and some people might say that this is their number one, and I totally get that because it's a great album. It's probably Beck's magnum opus, but I don't think it's his best. My number two, I actually think is best, even though that's not my favorite either. You see, this is a little bit similar to a certain YouTuber that I really like. His name is Shay Frillis. Shay Frillis Productions is his channel's name. Go check him out. He's a really good YouTuber. He doesn't do music. He does like he talks about stuff like movies and like he talks a lot about animated films a lot. And I really like his videos. He's really creative. But the reason why I'm mentioning him is because um, what I'm about to do is very similar to what he did in his in the top three of his ranking for the favorite Studio Ghibli films, or Ghibli, however you say it. And he said that most people would expect him to put Spirited Away at number one. And he said, but it happened to be his third favorite Studio Ghibli film. He happened to like two others more, and he thought that his number two was the best, but there was one that he liked even more than his number two. But so that's kind of like how this is. Like I just thought of that, where um, I do think this is Beck's magnum opus, but it's not my favorite, and I don't even think it's his best album. And there is a difference between best and magnum opus. Magnum opus means like most important, and actually, you probably know what it is because since you see the back. Yeah. Okay, so my number three. Sorry for wasting time there, but my number three is, well, most people would probably put as their number one, and I totally get it. But my number three is his magnum opus from 1996, Odelay. Yes, Odelay, I think, is a fantastic album. I think it is almost a masterpiece if it wasn't for a certain song, because there is one song on this album I don't like, and I'll go and say it is High Five, Rock the Catskills. I think that is honestly one of his worst songs. But if you take away that song, this whole album is a masterpiece. But um, but no, Odelay is great. I just happen to like these two others better, and I don't think this is the best. I think my number two is his best, like I said. Um, but yeah, Odelay's great. This was one of the albums I grew up with, and my personal favorites on this album are Devil's Haircut, Hot Wax, The New Pollution, uh, hopefully I'll say this right, Gulit, I think is how you say it, something like that, Jackass, Minus, Sissy Neck, and Ramshackle. And notice I didn't say where it's at. That's just because I've heard it a lot, but I still think it's a good song. Like I said, the only song I don't like is High Five, but all the others are great. But yeah, Odelay, great album, but not. I don't think it's his best. We'll get to that one right now. So yeah, number three is Odelay. All right, number two. Now, I honestly think this is his best album, even though it's not my favorite. I do think this is better than Odelay because I think every single song is great. I think every single song from this album is a masterpiece. You know, if it wasn't for High Five, then maybe I would say Odelay. But but no, I think this one is his best album. And this might come as a shock because I don't think a lot of Beck fans like this album, unfortunately, because they said it's just pretty much just a sequel to Sea Change, which it does sound a little similar to Sea Change, but I do think this has a little better production, and I think the songs are better on this album. My number two is from 2014, and it was actually the from the Grammys, the album of the year from 2014. That is Morning Phase. Yes, I fucking love Morning Phase. I think this is an amazing album. I think the production on this album just sounds amazing. Like, and it kind of sad too because the follow up to this was Colors, which I think the production to that album is pretty much atrocious, especially compared to this. But no, I think the production on this album is fantastic, and this album just sounds amazing. Every time I hear this album, I just love it so much. Even the very first time I heard this album, I really liked it quite a bit. Um, you know, like Sea Change, it is like more folk kind of stuff, but it works better for me. Like this is a better Sea Change in my opinion. And I'm sorry, that might be a hot take. The like Morning Phase better than Sea Change, but I think I and even a hotter take. to say that Morning Phase is better than Odelay, but I love I love this album. I really do. Um, Personal favorite tracks on this are Morning, um, Hard as a Drum, Say Goodbye, Blue Moon, which is a masterpiece of a song. Maybe his best song, if I'm going to be honest. Unforgiven, Wave, and Blackbird Chain. Awesome. Yeah, those songs are all great, and even the ones I didn't mention are still really good. Um, yeah, not a bad track on this album at all. I love it. I love Morning Face. However, it's not quite my favorite. And if you've been keeping track of what's left, then you should know what's my number one. But yeah, my number two is Morning Phase. Yeah. And my number one favorite Beck album, if you've been keeping track, you know what it is. That is Mellow Gold. Yes. This album changed my life. I was already a Beck, keep in mind, I was already a Beck fan whenever I first heard this album. Like, I listened to Odelay first, and I loved it. Um, but when I heard this album, I was blown away because the only song at the time I knew was, of course, Loser. But once I heard all the others, I was like, holy shit. I automatically fell in love with it and loved it even more than Odelay. Do I think it's better than Odelay and even Morning Face? No. But I I still think this is an amazing album. I think this is a masterpiece of an album. I would say probably his third best after Odelay and Morning Phase, um, but every single song on here is great. I don't think there is a bad track, unless if you count the hidden track. What is it called? Analog Odyssey, which is just noise. But I don't really count that one. If you know, unless you count that one, I think every single song on here is great. Personal favorites are Loser, Pay No Mind, Fucking With My Head, Soul Sucking Jerk, Truck Driving Neighbors Downstairs, Beer Can, which is my number one favorite Beck song, Nightmare Hippie Girl, and Black Hole. Yeah, this album is it. The reason why this is number one because it means so much to me. This, like I said, this album changed my life. It means a lot to me. It means more to me than any other Beck album. I had to put this at number one. I had to. Um, yeah, this album is a masterpiece. Is it a weird album? Yes, but not as weird as some of the others like Golden Feelings and Stereopathetic Soulmanure. But yeah, this album is great. I fucking love Mellow Gold. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, and it is my number one favorite album by Beck. Yeah. All right, there we go. There is my ranking for all 14 of Beck's albums. Yes, finally. Okay, I'm sorry for this being too long. This is now a 30-minute mark. If you made it this far though, I appreciate it. So yeah. So in the comments, please give me your ranking if you've heard all of his albums, give me a ranking of all of Beck's albums from your least favorite to favorite. And if you haven't heard it, all the albums, that's fine. Just do the ones that you have heard, or just give me your top 5 favorite Beck albums. That'd be cool. Um, and also, if you have any, I keep forgetting to say this, but if you have any recommendations for any other bands or artists you want me to do a discography ranking for, put that down in the comments. And if I'm interested, I will do it. So yeah. Um, all right. So Monday. Monday, I am planning on doing a video where I discuss my favorite movie from each year I've been alive. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, so yeah, I'm gonna do that one. Um, and as for Thursday, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. Maybe an album rank or yeah, album ranking. not discography ranking, album ranking. Or I might do my top 10 or 20 favorite third albums, which I was planning on doing that today, but for today's video, but I was almost done with the ranking. I just had a few more to listen to, so I just went ahead and finished it. And yeah, but I might do that. I don't know yet. You'll just have to wait and see. So, anyways, so yeah, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell. And I'll see you later. All right, peace.